When you're setting up a live stream, a wedding reception, or a small house band gig, the thing you really need is a mixer that just works, nothing fancy that makes you spend extra time dialing in settings you'll never use, and nothing cheap that leaves you fighting hiss or dropouts. You want something you can plug into, get solid sound, and walk away feeling confident you've made a smart spend. That's the exact spot where the Allen and Heath CQ18T tries to position itself, and it's the reason a lot of folks pause at the price tag before clicking add to cart. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The hesitation most people feel isn't about the feature list. Everyone sees Wi-Fi, a soft case, and a polishing cloth, but about whether those bits actually translate into a smoother workflow on the day you need it most. In the world of ultra-compact digital mixers, the promise is always more power in a smaller box, yet the trade-off can be a cramped layout or a learning curve that eats up rehearsal time. My goal here is to walk through what that trade-off looks like with the CQ18T, who will feel comfortable with it, and who might be better off looking elsewhere. Let's start with the practical side of setting it up. The unit measures just about the size of a large coffee mug, so you can stash it in a gig bag or a cramped backstage rack without forcing a rearrangement. The built-in Wi-Fi and the MixPad app are the first things you'll notice, because they're not just gimmicks, they let you control every channel from a tablet or phone. In my own test, I connected the mixer to an iPad, launched the app, and was able to tweak EQ, add effects, and set up submixes without ever touching the hardware surface. That means if you're the type who likes to sit behind a laptop while the band runs, you can stay seated, keep an eye on the DAW, and make adjustments on the fly. For a church tech volunteer who needs to juggle worship tracks and live mics, that remote access can shave a few minutes off each song change. The assistive mixing tools Allen and Heath tout are essentially auto gain and smart routing helpers. In practice, the auto gain works decently when you drop a fresh microphone in front of the console. It reads the input level, sets a starting point, and lets you fine-tune from there. It's not a magic button that guarantees perfect balance, but it does cut down the guesswork during a quick sound check. I found it most useful when running a small podcast with two hosts. I could drop both mics in, let the mixer find a baseline, then nudge the levels while watching the meters on the app. The tool saved me from the usual back and forth of "is this too loud?" that can eat up recording time. Now, who should actually buy this? If you're a mobile DJ, a small venue guitarist who occasionally streams, or a content creator who needs a reliable two-channel mix for voiceover plus a backing track, the CQ18T hits a sweet spot. Its dual-channel modes let you treat each input either as a full stereo line or as separate mono sources, so you can route a laptop's output to one side and a mic to the other without a patch bay. The protective soft case and the included polishing cloth are small touches, but they speak to the product's intended life on the road. You can toss it in a gig bag, drop it in a car trunk, and still keep it looking presentable. On the other hand, if you run a larger house band with more than 4 inputs, need multiple AUX sends for monitor mixes, or rely on deep routing for stage left/right subgroups, the CQ18T will feel cramped. Its channel count is fixed, and while the app lets you assign some routing, you can't create the kind of complex mix hierarchies you'd get from a 12-channel rack mount unit. For a seasoned sound engineer who lives on detailed EQ curves and multi-bus compression, the limited channel strip depth and the absence of dedicated hardware knobs for every function could become a bottleneck. In those scenarios, spending a bit more on a larger digital mixer would likely pay off. Speaking of sound, the high-quality audio claim is anchored in Allen and Heath's long reputation for clean preamps. In a side-by-side test with a mid-range analog mixer, the CQ18T delivered a transparent, low-noise signal that didn't color the vocals. The built-in effects reverb, delay, and a few modulation types are serviceable for small gigs, but they aren't meant to replace a dedicated outboard processor. If you need lush vocal plates for a wedding ceremony, you'll probably route the mix to a separate effects unit. However, for a podcaster who wants a light touch of room ambience, the built-in reverb is a convenient shortcut. One hidden trade-off that shows up after a few weeks of use is the reliance on the MixPad app for deep editing. The hardware surface itself is stripped down to a few faders and a rotary knob per channel, which keeps the unit tiny but